Hello, this is Way of Weinstein. Curb Your Enthusiasm, Season 9, Episode 7, Namaste. Live from the Financial District in New York City, however you may be watching, Facebook Live, YouTube. Glad to be talking some Curb Your Enthusiasm. So, the episode starts off with Larry and Leon in a very hot yoga. And I'm thinking, this isn't typical Larry. This is something that maybe Larry would have done if he was still with Cheryl or if he was in a long-term relationship doing it with a girl. But so it turns out he's doing it for his hamstring, and then he's noticing he doesn't want to say namaste, kind of like he doesn't want to sing the happy birthday song with the whole third eye. How it's like, I have no intellect. No intellect. And then the yoga instructor is like, get the hell out, don't return. And how he goes to the car, and Leon's like, oh, I got her number. And so, of course Leon would. And and Larry got the boot, and they hit the guy's car. And from that, Larry's like, just be fucked or get fucked. Like Larry just wanted to try to do the right thing. Leon just being a complete savage. And the next important thing was Larry at Susie and Jeff's house, saying how there's this friend who really wants to go out with Larry. He really wants to see a picture, which obviously wants to see, because people have different perceptions of attractive, and attractive is a different word to every person. So what Jeff and Susie may seem as attractive may not be attractive to Larry, which is why he's so gung-ho on seeing the photo. But I guess he trusted Jeff, just got saying, oh, she'd be lucky to have him, and how something's wrong with his car because of the crash, and he hit the car. So he's talking about this mechanic, and then he's talking to him. Now, okay, so I'm going to try to tightrope this delicate issue. So, not thinking that the guy is black. So, Leon made a great point saying if you are of that ethnicity or religion, you have a better shot of being able to tell your own from being able to not tell. Now, granted, when Larry was like, oh, I'm surprised Jeff didn't say he was black. I'm surprised when a white has a black friend, they don't really brag. Now, granted, I wouldn't say brag, but they will make special attention of it. As opposed to saying like, or they'll just identify whatever they like. Oh, I'm seeing with my friend. He happens to be Jewish. He happens to be white. He happens to be Mexican. So, now, one thing I'm shocked that Larry wasn't mentioned at all, was the fact that he was with Loretta. He adopted a hurricane family that was black, and their last name was black. I'm surprised they didn't touch on that at all. I was kind of like thinking maybe that they would, but I figure that would have been too over the top, and it was essentially saying how originally it's going to be like in a day or two, and then because of the comment, it was going to be 3 weeks to 4 weeks, and we finally see who Larry's blind date is. So it happens to be Lauren Graham, who for Seinfeld, she played one of Jerry's girlfriends in Seinfeld. That was the episode where with Larry, where Jerry was dating the girl with the speed dial, and she hit him like behind poison control, and really above number one, and Lauren Graham, you may know her from Parenthood and Gilmore Girls. So I thought it was really funny how she was an NBC censor, but again, another missed opportunity. How NBC censor, and Larry had the greatest show in the history of television, Seinfeld, on there. I'm surprised that they didn't touch on that at all, and how she seems very kind of promiscuous, saying how she's sometimes just gotta let it slip in, and just saying how great it was, which realistically, she does seem like she's a perfect fit. Funny, like. Now, Lauren Graham was born in 1967. I'm not sure how old she was supposed to be in the show. Larry David was born July 2nd, 1947. So about 20 years. But I guess like that's, let's see, Larry's in his 70s, she's in his 50s. I guess that's about age appropriate. And then with the kid. So with the kid, now granted, I don't want to offend anyone with Asperger's. That's something that's yeah. But at the same time, how Larry thinking that the kid's just an asshole as opposed to having Asperger's. Granted, I really don't know that much about Asperger's. I'm not sure what the symptoms are, what people display, so I really don't know what to comment on that. Although I will say it was just funny seeing Larry interact with the kid and really seeing her, because she works in censorship, so seeing her text Larry like, I want to, then just with the censors, and I've got an hour, come to my place. So with Leon, with the yogi team and the yoga instructor, essentially saying how you got part 1, part 2, and part 3, saying how it's like you could literally see Larry's glasses fog up because it was 92, and they had an episode when I believe it was maybe season 6. It was the season like right after. It was the Seinfeld season. Like the first 2 episodes were like where Larry's trying to kick Leon's family out, where Loretta had cancer, saying how black people like it hotter and white people like it cooler. So I guess that was more indicating on that. And then there's like, no, there's not going to be a part 2, not going to be a part 2. I don't like the after sex smell. Again, I have anosmia, so I have no sense of smell, so again, I can't comment on that. And then I thought it was really funny how Leon knew that the mechanic was black. He was like, how could you tell? Well, you can tell like a voice of Jewish people. Very true, very true. I myself think I have very good Judar. And so the whole thing from with Larry, like with the bus and with the Uber driver. Okay, so Larry, you are aware there are other sites via Lyft. I mean, just download another app. I mean, that's one thing I kept pounding, thinking like, just download another app. You know, granted, personally, I feel you're only getting into trouble if you start talking. I'm just put in some headphones, listen to a podcast, music, whatever. Just mind your own business, and then just wait till you get home. Well, he was just asking for trouble with the Romanian Uber driver. I mean, I get what they were going for, but and Larry rating himself, and another thing, like when Larry went back to the house and then talking to Susie about the date. Like how she's got the curlers, yada yada. Saying I want that same Eddie Haskell. Why are you going upstairs? I mean, I feel like depending on the friend, Larry's a very, very close friend. I feel like he has that right to do that. And let's be honest, Susie, you do realize? I mean, Larry's is one of Jeff's clients, so I'm sure like Jeff makes a pretty penny on like whatever like Larry pays him. So, And with Larry wanting to kick the yoga instructor out, how like she kicked him out, yada yada yada, and then how Larry going back to the mechanic and saying that he's got Asperger's, and then essentially kind of flipping it on him and saying like, oh, it'll have it tomorrow. And he kind of laid over the top. Okay, so one thing I didn't want to talk about, but I'll mention it. So when he has the guy over, and I find it's funny that, well, I don't know if I want to say, like how he made the concentration camp joke on SNL. Okay, so for me, my golden rule of comedy is that if you are of that ethnicity or religion, or you identify as something that is very specific to a group, you are allowed to do whatever you want with that group. Meaning that, like how Larry's Jewish, he can make concentration camp jokes. It'd be one thing if he was making black jokes. He is not black, so he should not do that. I had no problem with because he's a Jew making a Jew joke. Now, granted, the worst thing that's ever happened to us as a people. Now, granted, it was like, if it was someone as less established as Larry, who didn't create the greatest thing in the history of Western civilization, Seinfeld and Curb, yeah, I would say some Jewish community starting up, maybe not start with the Holocaust joke and concentration camps, but how he's literally making the Sophie choice, saying, "Who are you sending to concentration?" I thought maybe that was poor timing. Maybe like because he hosted SNL the last week, maybe he knew that he was gonna make that concentration camp joke, and that episode of Curb was gonna air the week after. So that, and then how last night, when he played Bernie Sanders, saying how, and let's not get on comedians, even if they made a concentration camp joke. I thought that was pretty great. If you watched SNL last night, seeing him as Bernie Sanders, but back to Curb. So with Larry, again, with the whole heat, like how they're not going to be able to fix it, and because he made the comment saying it's going to take weeks, and how Larry is not able to get to Lauren Graham because, okay, Larry, again, with the this is just Larry just having mental gaps. There are multiple driving apps. Now, granted, I'm very fortunate to live in New York, so like you can get an Uber, a Lyft, Via. I'm sure there's even other stuff that I don't even know about, but it's not solely on Uber. You could have downloaded another app. So with the bus, and also taxi, Larry, you couldn't have looked in your iPhone, looked up a Los Angeles taxi. Granted, I don't know how frequent those are, but I'm sure you could have done that, and so you could have came over. So that was also, I was curious. And then, so when the guy who's kind of a jerk, when Larry in his car is like, you leave a note. Like how in one of my favorite episodes of Curb, the ski lift, how Mr. Heineman, the head of the continues from, saying, "Oh, what a mitzvah it was for you to leave that note." Mitzvah to leave that note. And it looked like a lawyer was saying, "Oh, everybody leaves a note." No, not everybody. Not everybody. Everybody should leave a note, but everybody does not leave a note. And then how he came over and Leon like answers the door. That was great. That was fantastic. Oh, I didn't know, like, does it matter? Does it matter? Which it doesn't. But how he was saying this estimate's high. I'll take care of it. Essentially, again, like how white guilt at its finest, just feeling and like Leon making all the puns. I'm a namaste here, and how the end of the episode, how Larry here's Leon having sex with Yoga Teen, and just when she just is classic sounding Fran Drescher, Susie Essman. If you haven't watched last week's episode of Broad City, those two are on together. It's the best episode of the season. You should watch. It's fantastic. Hearing that, just hearing like really, really laid on over the top, and then adding a "I'm not doing that." Larry just gives that look of, yep, definitely a Jew. So overall, I don't know if it was. I enjoyed this episode. I'd probably put it as the third best episode of this season. But yeah, I enjoyed it. Again, if you like this video, comment, share it, like it, and I'm gonna post this to YouTube. You can subscribe; it'd really help out. Way of Weinstein. Again, that is all. Next scheduled Way of Weinstein is this Wednesday for Broad City. If you have anything that you'd like me to cover with Broad City and Curb unfortunately coming to a close sooner than I'd like, let me know. And that's all. Have a good night.